Today's Autism Awareness Day, and in light of that fact, I wanted to introduce you to my young son who is living with autism. He has taught me so many things that I really felt compelled to share them with you. Hi there, I'm Laura Connor with Connor Speaks, and my youngest son's name is Kyle, and he's 10 years old. He is on the autism spectrum, as I said. And a lot of times when I tell people that I have a son that's on the spectrum, immediately their face gets downcast. They think that it's a negative thing. And while it's challenging to raise a son on the spectrum sometimes, it is even more rewarding. And here are three things that Kyle has taught me over the years that I've had the honor to raise him. The first thing is Kyle has taught me to have more patience. With Kyle, things that would have typically taken other kids a couple months to learn or a couple weeks to learn. You teach them one thing one time and they master it in a short while. It has taken months and years, and even we're still working on some things that he should have probably have gotten years ago. But that's okay. He still tries. And he encourages me to be more patient with him, to continue to work with him and not fly off the handle, and find different ways to teach him so that he can eventually master those skills that he's working on. So he's taught me a huge amount of patience. The second thing that Kyle has taught me is that I need to not assume things about people. Now this is important because before I had kids, when I would go out in the public and I would see kids that may be having temper tantrums or they weren't listening to their parents, I would immediately assume that that kid had no manners and they were a bad kid, and I'd make these assumptions and then I would treat them differently or treat their parents differently. Fast forward to now, I've had many times where Kyle and I were out in the public and maybe he's having trouble controlling his emotions, or he has a temper tantrum, or he speaks too loud. And then a lot of times people would look and think things about him without knowing that he's on the spectrum. And then you add to that fact that while he's 10 years old, he looks like he's 12 or 13 years old. People expect him to act differently or to behave differently or say things differently. And when they don't get that, then they immediately start to make assumptions and treat him differently, most times negatively. So he's taught me not to assume things about other people, especially people that I don't know about, but just not to assume things about people. And the third thing Kyle has taught me is that I need to celebrate the small successes in life. Again, with typical kids, they learn their speech or their vocabulary or how to express themselves at certain age markers. And for Kyle, it didn't happen at those same markers. He likes to repeat himself a lot, so he would say the same thing over and over and over again. But then when he would say a different word, I would notice it and I would be, whoa, that's a different word, that's a different phrase, that's a different sentence. And I would applaud him for those things. And they were small, but they were still steps on his progression. So he's taught me how to appreciate the small things and really celebrate those things. So what can you learn from this? The first thing is, have patience with people. Maybe there's someone that you're working with, maybe someone in your family or at work, where it seems that they should have understood what to do by now, but they're not getting it. Maybe you need to change your learning style or how you speak to them or how you try to show them what to do. And then still, if that doesn't work, still have patience until they get it. And then what about for assuming things about people? Maybe before you write people off or make these judgments without knowing, maybe get to know them. Or if it really is not really concerning you, maybe just mind your own business and don't treat them or look at them or stare at them different ways and turn up your nose that they're a bad person. Just don't make those assumptions. Chances are you're going to be wrong. And the third thing is celebrate those small victories. So if you have someone and maybe they said they're going to lose 10 pounds and they've only lost 1 and it's been 6 months. If they come and say that they lost a pound, celebrate that. Find things that they're doing well to acknowledge rather than focusing on the negative things all the time. Acknowledge the positive things. So there you have it. Hopefully this is an encouragement to you. I wanted just to start this dialogue on autism because I didn't know much about it until I, again, was blessed to have Kyle and have the honor to raise him. And so if there's someone that you know who is on the spectrum, or a parent, or maybe someone who's working with kids or with adults who are on the spectrum, why not just give them a shout out below? Love to get this discussion started, and hope that we could all learn more about autism and be more aware of autism and find ways that we can support these people and help them to live their best life possible. Kyle is having a great life, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to end up doing with himself. The sky's the limit for him. So until we talk again, I want you to do 3 things for me. I want you to keep sharing. I want you to keep serving. I want you to keep speaking. Take care. Cheers.